How much money do you think you need to live comfortably in America? This is a question that has been asked time and again, and the answer has evolved right along with the concept of the American dream. The American dream. It's a term that has been etched into our collective consciousness for decades. It's the idea that with hard work and determination, anyone can achieve prosperity in this land of opportunity. But what does prosperity mean in the context of today's America? And more importantly, how much does it cost? In the past, the American dream was often equated with owning a home, having a family, and securing a stable job. However, with the passage of time and shifts in societal norms, the definition of the American dream has broadened. Today it encompasses not just material wealth but also personal fulfillment, quality education, and good health. So, let's delve into what contributes to the cost of living in America. First, there's housing. Whether you're looking to rent an apartment in a bustling city or buy a house in the suburbs, housing is likely to be one of your biggest expenses. The cost can vary greatly depending on your location and personal preferences. Next, we have healthcare. With the complexities of insurance and the high cost of medical care, healthcare has become a significant concern for the average American. Then there's education. From preschool to college, the cost of education in America can be quite steep. And let's not forget about daily expenses. Groceries, utilities, transportation, and leisure activities all add up to form your cost of living. Living comfortably in America involves juggling these expenses and more. It's about balancing the cost of your wants and needs, and making informed decisions about where your money goes. So with all these considerations, how much does it really cost to live the American dream? This question is complex, and the answer can be as diverse as the people who dream it. But don't worry, we'll try to break it down for you in the upcoming scenes. So, stay tuned. Recent surveys and studies have given us some numbers to consider. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty. According to a survey by CNBC, the average American family believes they need roughly $90,000 a year to feel financially secure. Interestingly, this figure echoes the findings of a study by Purdue University, which suggests that for individuals, an income of $75,000 a year hits the sweet spot for optimum happiness and satisfaction. However, it's crucial to note that these numbers aren't set in stone. They fluctuate significantly based on various factors like where you live, your family size, and lifestyle choices. For instance, if you're living in a bustling city like New York or San Francisco, the cost of living can be considerably higher than the national average. On the other hand, places like Mississippi or Arkansas tend to have a lower cost of living. Family size is another factor that can considerably affect how much money you need to be comfortable. A single person may find it relatively easy to live on $60,000 a year, while a family of 4 might struggle with the same amount. Lifestyle choices also play a significant role in shaping these figures. If you're someone who enjoys dining out frequently, traveling, or have a penchant for luxury goods, your comfort level might be pegged at a higher income bracket. On the other hand, if you're more frugal and prefer a minimalist lifestyle, you might find comfort in a much lower income bracket. So, while the average American may need around $90,000 a year to feel financially secure, the reality is that this figure can vary quite significantly based on your unique circumstances and preferences. In conclusion, the cost of comfort isn't a one-size-fits-all number. It's a fluid figure that changes based on a multitude of factors. As we can see, the cost of comfort can vary quite significantly. Housing and healthcare, two of the biggest expenses for most Americans. Let's start by unpacking the cost of housing. On average, Americans spend about a third of their income on housing. This includes rent or mortgage payments, utilities, and maintenance. Over the past few decades, housing costs have been on a steady rise. The median home price has more than tripled in the last 50 years. This upward trend is expected to continue, with experts predicting a further increase in housing costs over the next few years. Now let's turn our attention to healthcare. The cost of healthcare in America is a major concern for many. On average, an American family spends over $10,000 a year on healthcare. This includes insurance premiums, out-of-pocket costs for medical services, and prescription medications. The cost of healthcare has also been rising significantly over time. From the year 2000 to 2020, the average annual healthcare cost per person in the US more than doubled. Looking ahead, the future of healthcare costs is uncertain. Some experts predict a slowdown in the rise of healthcare costs, thanks to advancements in technology and efforts to improve efficiency in the healthcare system. However, others warn that increasing medical costs and the aging American population could continue to drive up healthcare expenses. The costs of housing and healthcare are not just numbers on a page. They represent substantial financial commitments that Americans must plan for and manage. These costs can take a significant toll on a family's budget, affecting their ability to save, invest, and plan for the future. It's also worth noting that these costs can vary greatly depending on where you live. For instance, housing and healthcare costs in urban areas are typically higher than in rural areas. The cost of living in different states also varies, with some states having significantly higher housing and healthcare costs than others. These are substantial costs that greatly impact the overall cost of living. Beyond housing and healthcare, there are several other essential costs to consider. Food is the most basic of our needs. On average, an American spends nearly $300 on food per month. That's about $10 a day. However, these figures can vary widely depending on dietary preferences, location, and whether you're eating out or cooking at home. For instance, a meal at a mid-range restaurant can cost between $15 to $25, while a meal cooked at home usually costs less than $5. Next, let's talk about education. The costs associated with education can be significant, especially if you're considering higher education. The average cost of tuition at an in-state public college is about $10,000 a year. For private colleges, that figure can rise to a staggering $35,000 a year. And that's not including the cost of textbooks, housing, food, and other miscellaneous expenses. Transportation is another major expense. The cost of owning and maintaining a car can be quite high, with the average American spending over $9,000 a year. This includes the cost of fuel, insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. If you live in a city with good public transportation, you might be able to save some money. But even then, the cost of a monthly pass can range from $25 to $100. There are also other daily expenses to consider. Things like clothing, internet, cell phone bills, and entertainment can add up. On average, an American spends about $2,000 a year on clothing, over $1,000 on internet and cell phone bills, and around $2,500 on entertainment. These expenses may seem smaller, but they add up and play a crucial role in the overall cost of living. Each of these costs has the potential to fluctuate, and it's important to be prepared for those variances. The next time you're budgeting, remember to account for these often overlooked aspects of daily life. They might just make the difference between just getting by and being comfortable. So, what's the final tally? How much does a comfortable life in America really cost? We've journeyed through a landscape of costs and expenses, peered into the wallets of average Americans, and dug deep into the financial terrain of housing, healthcare, food, education, and more. Now, it's time to pull all these threads together and weave a comprehensive picture. First, we dissected the cost of living in America. We discovered that it's not just about the dollars and cents, but the quality of life these dollars can buy. From there, we dove into recent surveys, which painted a picture of what Americans believe they need to live comfortably. The numbers varied, reflecting the diversity of our great nation. Next, we discussed housing and healthcare, two hefty pillars that bear the weight of our financial well-being. We found that while housing can range from the price of a small car to a private jet, healthcare, with its unpredictable nature, can sometimes skyrocket, leaving us in a financial free fall. Then, we ventured into the realms of food, education, and more. We learned that while some costs, like that of food, can be managed with smart choices, others, like education, seem to march steadily upward, often outpacing our ability to keep up. So, after all these explorations, what's the final figure for a comfortable life in America? Well, it's tricky. Depending on where you live, your lifestyle, and a myriad of other factors, the cost can fluctuate significantly. For some, it might be $60,000 a year. For others, it might be closer to $100,000 or even more. But remember, comfort is also about peace of mind, about not having to worry every time a bill lands in your mailbox. It's about having a buffer for life's unexpected twists and turns. It's about being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, rather than merely surviving. While the cost of comfort can vary, one thing is clear: living the American dream doesn't come cheap.